If Gita is a book of wisdom, why does Krishna ask Arjun to fight his own people? Does God really justify violence? Those who want to perpetuate division and war will read the Gita in a literal way, permitting their egos to fight their enemies. But look deeper. What if Kurukshetra is not the land of war, but human consciousness? What do you mean by that? Kurukshetra is not a field outside you, it is the place within where you stand between who you truly are and who you were taught to be. That is the real battle every human faces daily, the war between reality and the ideal, between the real self and the mask, the one who is terrified of judgment and wants to control how he appears, and the one who no longer cares to perform. So, the real war is not out there, it is not against people, it is against the voices that shame us out of our true nature. Exactly. Arjun is a Kshatriya, a warrior not in the sense of loving violence, but in the sense of embodying courage, clarity, and the willingness to face what must be faced. Yet he suddenly clings to the ideal of being gentle and non-violent. These are noble qualities, but in him they become images rather than truth. And every image, even the image of goodness, is still ego. What Krishna is showing him is that authenticity is holier than any ideal the mind constructs. The mind is brilliant at interpreting reasons why being our true selves is somehow wrong. It whispers that we'll disappoint others, be judged, and our image will collapse if we stop performing the role we have been rewarded for. It tells us we should be kinder, softer, less intense, more acceptable, and more convenient. It urges to avoid conflict at any cost, even when avoiding conflict means betraying what is real within us. These voices, subtle, persuasive, and endless, are the Kauravas of the inner world. 100 forms of resistance born from fear, shame, and guilt. And just as the Kauravas are Arjun's own people, these voices come from our closest environment, the very family, culture, and relationships that taught us to follow, to pretend, to mold ourselves into what is acceptable in order to be loved. Krishna is not actually telling Arjun to fight and kill the Kauravas, his own people, but to act from his true, authentic self as a warrior instead of collapsing into the fears and expectations that make him doubt his own inner clarity. In the Gita, violence is not the teaching, radical self acceptance is. Krishna is not teaching Arjun to kill. Krishna is not teaching Arjun to kill. He is teaching him to stop killing himself just to fit in and appear noble. When you move from your authentic self rather than from these internal saboteurs, the inner battlefield quiets, and the war between who you are and who you think you should be comes to an end. The real warrior is the one who ends violence within, because the moment action comes from truth, not an ego image of how we should behave, violence disappears at inner level. And since the outer reality is a mere reflection of the inner we, in a way, stop adding to the wars outside. But what if being true to ourselves hurts or disappoints others? Shouldn't we try to reach an ideal and be good people? Morality built on self denial is not real morality at all. Trying to be a good person by suppressing who we are only creates inner violence, which eventually spills outward. The Gita's teaching is that goodness cannot come from fear, guilt, or performance. It must arise from alignment with our true nature. Krishna tells Arjun, if from ego you say, I will not act, your very nature will compel you to act anyway. We cannot escape what we are. We can only suffer by resisting it. True non-violence is not the avoidance of the conflict. It is the refusal to betray ourselves. When we act from truth rather than from the ego's idea of goodness, we bring less violence to the world, not more. And how is surrendering to God related to all this? When Krishna tells Arjun to surrender, he says, abandon all forms of imagined duty and take refuge in me alone. What about our own free will? What we call free will is an inner struggle. It is the clash between the heart, which is our true nature, and the voices in the mind telling us how we should behave, how to be good, how to be moral, how to be acceptable. This inner battlefield is what we mistake for choice. But if you are authentic, if you act from the heart without fear, without performance, where is the choice in that? There is no debate, no struggle. There is simply the natural movement of inner truth. Hence, the free will that is surrendered is not our actual capacity to choose. It is the ego's compulsive fight against reality, its constant attempt to force life into an image of how it should be. Exactly. There is a part of you that knows spontaneously, feels clearly, and acts naturally. That is the God intended movement of your nature. And there is another part, conditioning, fear, self image, that constantly interrupts that movement by saying, no, don't do that. It's not who you are supposed to be. Or what if they think this or that? Or I should be different. This second part is what is surrendered. To surrender to God simply means letting the intelligence that formed you, breathes you, and guides your intuition take the lead. You do not disappear, you become transparent to your own truth. This is not suppression, it is finally allowing yourself to be as you were made. The Gita's wisdom does not lie in teaching violence or moral performance. It points out towards something far more intimate, self honesty. Before you can surrender to God, you must stop betraying yourself. Before you can love truly, you must stop seeking approval